There was a time when teams legitimately questioned how anyone would be able to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder over the next 5 to 8 to 10 years. Because through a combination of excellent NBA draft picks and a little luck, OKC had managed to put together a young big three that on paper looked overwhelmingly talented. But then, OKC's front office made several horrible decisions that will forever haunt them. So what's up guys, Mike here, and yes, today we are going to look at what people thought of the James Harden trade back when it happened. Now, I've never done a video like this before, but I thought it was very interesting to see what people's reactions were, especially because as we've seen, James Harden has grown into a potential two-time MVP. Meanwhile, there were people who did not like this trade at all and thought the Thunder were going to be better off for it. Those people were obviously very wrong, as you are about to see, so I hope you enjoy. So let's start with the most important person involved in this trade, James Harden's thoughts on what it was like to be traded. As Harden said, quote, "I got a text from my general manager, Sam Presti. I called him, he told me that he loved me and that things didn't work out and that I was going to be coming to Houston. I was kind of stunned. We had something special, but at the end of the day, it's a business." And sure, while it is a business, this trade was something much different to the players actually involved. Kevin Durant would show this by saying,
"It was a little shocking, to be honest. You know, it started to become family. So to see a guy that's been here since day one, since we started this thing, get moved like that was tough."
And really, that is the thing here. OKC had built something more than a contending roster. They had built a family. At the time, though, Sam Presti thought he was making the right move. Because after the trade, he said, "We made several efforts to try to make this work. We made a final proposal on Friday morning that was unacceptable. We then came back with another proposal." However, as Harden recalls, when OKC came back with their final offer, they gave him only a single hour to accept or not. After everything we established, everything we had done, you give me an hour? This was one of the biggest decisions of my life. It hurt me. Presti would finish off by saying, "It was a difficult situation to come to the reality that we weren't going to be able to meet his expectations." Now remember, by meet his expectations, Presti meant that the Thunder were unwilling to give Harden a max contract. This is something OKC has fallen back on because at the time, they claimed they couldn't pay the luxury tax because they were a small market team. However, I think Bill Simmons wrote it best in his article reacting to this trade, writing, "Oklahoma City will rue the day it traded James Harden. I thought the Thunder were headed for another finals and another chance at toppling LeBron and Wade. Instead, they made a different kind of history, becoming the first NBA contender that ever jeopardized multiple titles for financial reasons and financial reasons only." Harsh words there, but Simmons was not the only one who had that thought process. Here's Skip Bayless with yet another incredible take.
"I don't get it, because they could have played out this year, or you could amnesty Perkins and pay the luxury tax. It was doable. I know some of those owners there, Stephen A. They have a whole lot of money."
On top of this, that summer, OKC signed Serge Ibaka to an extension, obviously choosing to pay him instead of Harden. They did not believe James Harden had superstar potential, but Rockets GM Daryl Morey disagreed, as after the trade was over, he basically laughed in the Thunder's face while commenting, "I actually can't come up with any examples of a player of his caliber and age getting traded at the time he was traded. It really has never happened. I actually didn't think they'd trade him." As for Harden's final thoughts at the time, it seemed to hit him that the possibilities for him as a player had grown larger than they had ever been before. He reflected, "I was there with talented guys in Oklahoma City, and I would have been in the back seat there, which I was fine with, but I wouldn't have gotten the chance to show how talented I really am." Looking back at this trade, we are very aware that James Harden has become an MVP caliber player. However, at the time of this trade, a lot of people doubted if James was really a number one option. For instance, Stephen A. Smith told the world,
"No disrespect to James Harden. He ain't Kevin Durant. Clearly he can ball, but in the same breath as Kevin Durant, you better watch your mouth."
Yeah, and the thing is here, even some NBA Hall of Famers such as Dirk Nowitzki thought the Thunder would be perfectly fine without Harden. Dirk told reporters, "It actually shocked me a little bit that OKC was going to break that group up. Looking at it now, OKC is not really missing much. Kevin Martin is scoring off the bench. All it really means is Durant and Westbrook have the ball more, and they're obviously unbelievably explosive." And as for Dwayne Wade, the man Harden had just battled against in the finals, else, he seemed unsure about Harden's potential when he said, "It was shocking, but they made the move they felt was right for them. We'll see how it shakes out, but I still think they're the best team in the West right now." So again, not everyone believed in James Harden, but there were a lot of people who did, which means we're moving on to positive remarks here. And in my opinion, the best place to start is with Malik Allen, who hilariously tweeted out, "Ha ha 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 ha, OKC is bugging." A bigger name in the NBA, LeBron James, also had Harden's back, telling reporters, "I think we all know that James Harden was a big part of their team. He was a big part of why they made it to the finals. They got a couple pieces back that are really good as well, but we don't know how it changes their team until they actually get out there." LeBron would also tweet out, "Best of luck to my little bro slash homie James Harden in H-Town. He about to go ham in his role now." Meanwhile, Shaquille O'Neal also had full faith in James, as on NBA TV, he said,
"He reminds me of the unselfish little brother. Came in, he didn't complain. Now that he's in Houston, he's ready to become a star. You know, they asked him yesterday, 'Are you ready to be the man?' And he said yes, and I think he is."
And even the Black Mamba himself showed he had 100% confidence in Harden's potential, as when asked if he was surprised by Harden's huge start with the Rockets, Kobe responded with, "Not at all, not even a little. He was the biggest problem for us because he's coming off the bench and his ability to facilitate, shoot, penetrate, and get teams in foul trouble. We all knew what a great player he was. Now he has the ability to showcase it for everybody else." And it is here at this point in the video where I want to dispel any myth that the Thunder never could have seen this coming. The reason I say this, and the reason that Daryl Morey probably fainted when he actually made this trade, was that let's just take a look here at Harden's advanced stats for the 2012 season. Sure, 16.8 points, 4.1 rebounds, 3.7 assists per game do not seem incredible. However, on the Thunder, James Harden was the sixth man, and he was also the third option by a lot. To show you what I mean, let's take a look at the NBA's leaders in usage rate for the 2012 season. At number 1, we have Kobe, and look, at number 2 is Russell Westbrook, a man who had a 32.7% usage rate and averaged 19.2 field goal attempts a game. Moving just a few spots down, there's Kevin Durant at number 5, sitting with a 31.3% usage rate as he averaged 19.7 field goal attempts a game. As for James Harden, well, somehow he had a usage rate of just 21.6, a number that was obviously low. However, what was not low was his true shooting percentage, which sat at 66%, good for second best in the NBA. Add this to the fact that he had 9.3 win shares, 1.4 more than Russell Westbrook, the man with the second highest usage percentage in the NBA, and it doesn't take a mathematical genius to see that James Harden needed more shots as he was absurdly efficient. Somehow though, the Thunder failed to realize this, and they have paid for their mistake dearly. Just one season later in Houston, Harden's usage rate would jump to 29%, and with that, he still maintained a very good 60% true shooting percentage and averaged a now star level 25.9 points and 5.8 assists a game. Thunder fans, I will say at this point in the video that you are allowed to cry. Getting back to people's reactions about this trade, however, let's finish this video off with quotes from people looking back at the trade years later. Looking at the quotes from Kevin Durant, it seems like the Thunder's treatment of Harden did play a role in his decision to leave OKC. The reason I say that is, as superstars, you gotta lead what you have. You gotta do your job, and you gotta trust that the front office is going to do their job. It's hard though, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I want to win. Obviously, our players aren't as good as, you know, than they were before. And just looking back at his time in OKC with Harden and Russ in general, Kevin has also said, it's not until 4 or 5 years later and you start to see the impact of that trade that you realize we really missed this guy. And miss him they did, as the Thunder would never again reach the finals with Durant on their team or in general since. And as we all know, a short while later, he would sign with the Golden State Warriors. As for Harden, when he looks back at his Thunder years, he said it was the perfect puzzle. How do you give that up? How do you let that go? And when it comes down to it, for him, it really was just the money. When asked if he would still be in OKC if the Thunder had given him the salary he wanted / deserved, James said, quote, "Definitely no question." He would go on to say, "I felt like I already made a sacrifice coming off the bench and doing whatever it takes to help the team, and they weren't willing to help me." And really, I could not finish this video with a better quote, because when it comes down to it, yes, this James Harden trade did ruin a potential dynasty. It did break up a young big three that may have been more talented than any young big three we have ever seen. Yes, if the Thunder had stayed together, they would have been more than dominant, but for James Harden individually, it's really hard to see him becoming the player he's become in Houston since, just because of how ball dominant both Russ and KD are. And there we have it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, if you want more like it, make sure to comment that down below, because again, this is a completely new concept for me. With that said, if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video, and if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome, we all know it, and as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music. By the way, if you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are going to love watching. All you have to do is just click on either one of them on the screen right here, and other than that, guys, again, have a great day, and peace.